Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be unpacking and looking through a brand new and untouched Star Wars vault by Steve Sansweet. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay then, so initially I'm actually having to stand up to do this because it's such a huge tome. I'm going to struggle to get it all in, so we're going to have a little play around with it and see how it fits camera-wise here. But first of all, look at it, a massive and heavy tome. Now, this book, when it was first published, was £40, this sort of slipcase set. But at the time, it did get remaindered by Waterstones, and they were offering it for just £9.99 here in the UK, which is brilliant. Yeah, look at that, £40 was the original price, and this was an import. So I don't believe this copy has ever been opened. This is exactly how it would have been bought in the shop. Now, at the time, I actually did work for a bookseller, and in the shop where we were working, we had a huge pile of Star Wars vaults, and they were in like a lectern. It was like a shop display one. So I had a good look through it. And I obviously picked one up for myself for £9.99, but I never actually went through it. So because I'd seen it in the store, but this is what's inside. This is a little taster of it, and I believe it is a slipcase. So it's going to just slide out. Here we go, and well, there we go. It's going to be brilliant, isn't it? So let's put that back there like so, and have a little look into it. So what a gorgeous cover. Now, if you've read any of Steve Sansweet's books in the past, and I do sort of mark that chap, Steve Sansweet, as, well, he is obviously a legend of Star Wars collecting, but he was the one who brought Star Wars collecting to the masses in the mid-90s, and he sort of revived it with his fantastic book, From Concept to Screen to Collectible. So he was only right to be called upon to do this one. And a lot of this stuff is pulled from, of course, his own personal archive, which, you might be familiar with as Rancho Obi-Wan. So that's just about got most of the book in there. So it comes with a couple of CDs, which I believe are in here. Yeah, look, it's got a couple of CDs. Now, I don't know what's on the CDs, so let's have a little look. Track 1. It looks like interviews. Track 1, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford and Alec Guinness talk to the media about Star Wars. And then there's like some radio spots, commercials. Composer John Williams discusses his groundbreaking score. George Lucas discusses Star Wars as a silent movie. Carrie Fisher sings her heart out as Princess Leia in the Star Wars Holiday Special. Disc 2 here. Looks like more of the same, really. Yeah, but the more recent movies, right up to Revenge of the Sith. So that's what's on the CD. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? And then this first page here, the splash page, is the Topps cards, like an uncut sheet of cards. So that's pretty cool in itself. There we are, 30 Years of Treasures from the Lucasfilm Archives. Stephen J. Snyder and Peter Vilmer. I don't know who Peter Vilmer was, but... And right, let's look at the publishing history. It's 2007. Can you believe it? Look at that down there, 2007. I had no idea this was 16 years old. Incredible, absolutely incredible. Yeah, a few behind the scenes VIP passes and things like that. Cast and crew invite to the screening of the original Star Wars. This does look a great book, doesn't it? A little introduction there. Looks like the original press kit by the look of it. And there's what is in here? So insert. Oh, ILM office stationery from 1975. And some of the influences, the Flash Gordon there, Weird Science. I guess Lucas himself was a bit of a fan. And then we're looking at American Graffiti, which was Lucas's first real film. Harrison Ford's in that, of course, isn't he? What's this here? A bit of Ralph McQuarrie concept art by the look of it. I mean, he really did sort of design the look of Star Wars, didn't he? Reinventing King Kong. Okay. And what's this here? So this is so these are some blueprints by the look of it of well, what are they of? The Star Wars. Of course, that's what it was called. They have the in front of it, and these must be like middle models of the Death Star and things like that by the look of it. And the blueprints to those. Oh, it's upside down. Now that looks like the blueprints to Luke's, like yeah, the Star Hopper. Also, and they're sort of like in this little envelope there. I said you can see this is pretty much brand new. Doing some of the model shots there. And directing Mark Hamill. There's a Star Wars patch. Invitation. So Alec Guinness has kindly invited all members of Star Wars cast and crew to drinks on completion of shooting on Friday, April the 30th, in the executive restaurant at EMI Studios, which is to the right of the studio bar and upstairs of the first floor of the studio admin building. So, good old Alec Guinness, being the kindly chap he was, actually laid on a little party when the film wrapped. How nice of that was him. Intergalactic swag, look at this. Star Wars, a tankard there. And the intergalactic passport, that must be, I've got that, but not like that. That must be like a little proof copy of it. And what's this? Star Wars. So this looks like the original, yeah, this looks like the original press photos for Star Wars. I've actually got that picture signed by Alec Guinness. A brilliant one. Good stuff. Oh, look, there we are. Thank you for your contribution to Star Wars, George Lucas and Gary Kurtz. Lovely. And these are, well, these are cast and crew items. So those are the Lukeite stars that were given to cast and crew. I remember speaking to Declan Mulholland about he was the Jabba that the original Jabba that actually got cut in the movie, and he had sold his star. He said, "Yeah, I only got 100 quid for it," or something like that. Because they were quite common. I mean, I remember in the early 90s they were turning up everywhere, these stars, and they weren't that expensive. I don't know what they go for now. Probably more than £100, I would think. And this is launching Star Wars to the fans. Of course, it played in some of the conventions, didn't it? And this was the Howard Chaykin original poster that was done at the science fiction convention. Early work by Chaykin. And here's some more sort of signed bits here. Mid-America Con. So that was probably another place where they spoke. So Mark Hamill signed that one there. I recognise his signature. Ben Bova, the sci-fi writer. A. Van Gogh. Piers Anthony. Or Paul Anderson, rather. Marion Zimmer Bradley. Lots of recognisable names, but mainly Mark Hamill there. There he is. Oh, there's Gary Kurtz. I'm talking about launching the movie. Cool, if only they knew just what it was going to become, eh? Developing the cameras, early posters and that, early press stuff. And then From Gloom to Euphoria, that was the original screening at the Chinese Man Theatre there. And then invitation to the preview screening of Star Wars there. Some of the original early posters and that. Coverage in Variety. The magazines here. What's this? Focus on Fox, Star Wars one. Some of the covers that were issued at the time. Feeding the Demand. This is press photos and things like that, by the look of it. And of course, I think the fan club had started by now as well. That's like a little retro 70s t-shirt transfer. How cool is that? I wonder if you can actually put that on your... Yeah, look, you can actually put that on a t-shirt. Maybe I should do this. And it gives you the instructions here to have an authentic 70s style Star Wars iron-on transfer t-shirt. How amazingly cool is that? That's almost worth the price of the book alone, isn't it? Excellent stuff. Yes, very cool. The goodies. So this was the launch of the toys, of course. So you got the early bird package there. So the toys couldn't be made straight out the gate. They would have to be, you know, sort of manufactured overseas and then shipped around the world to be packaged up. And that took time. So they did the early bird as a promise of figures. And then lots of paper stuff came out, like jigsaws and board games and things like that. Conquering other worlds. So, I mean, although these came later, there's the example of some of the tri-logo European carded figures. The Colgate one with the figures in, they're quite collectible. Don't see those very often. Some of the foreign film posters. So what we got here? There's a reprint of the action transfers. And that's what they would have looked like. Got a few of those in my collection. They're lovely. Electra set, of course, are British. Some of the foreign Japanese stuff now. Japanese posters. Sound music now. London Symphony Orchestra in space. Look at this. Good old John Williams. You have to say that John Williams was an absolutely integral part of Star Wars and the Star Wars story. It's as simple as that. It wouldn't have been the same if another composer had done it. That much is definitely true. But these are very, very interesting. Never seen any of these. I think I've seen that one before. But some of the other stuff I haven't. Play it again, John. This is when they were scoring the movie. There it is. They got one of the score sheets. Incredible. And the original albums, of course. Eating and drinking Star Wars. Lots of tie-in food products, weren't there? Over the years, and there still are today. Now, what's this here? Let's have a little look. So this is a land speeder. This was the Coca-Cola one that was offered through Burger King, I recall. Yeah, or Burger Chef. Yeah. So this is to make a cardboard land speeder, and that was given away like with a Burger Chef. Not a Happy Meal on McDonald's, but a Burger King one. Whatever their equivalent was, you know. Some of these are more modern. That's obviously when the figures started coming back in the mid-90s. And I've got a set of those 4 posters, and they are absolutely beautiful. I must get those out and get them framed. I've been meaning to do that for a long time, but for a little while there was a little hoard of those turned up, and I remember picking up multiple sets and selling them in the store. But they're really, really nice, those. Good stuff here. Star Wars Fan Club. I was a member of that back in the day. From undies to Barrett's. So yeah, you had your underoos, your Princess Leia underoos, and there was a line of the Star Wars trainers. I've not got any of those in my collection. I've seen them a couple of times, and they're always a little bit more than I actually want to pay. But cool, just the same. Very, very nice to see. Some film stills here, and there's the classic British Death Star, the pencil sharpener. Absolutely fantastic, that one, the Helix one. Very, very nice, that. Some of the other books, I haven't got that one. I have got the computer one. Haven't got that one there, though. I've got quite a few of the books for youngsters, the educational ones. I really like them. There's the an uncut sheet of stickers there, and then some droid stickers as well. Topps introduces the 15-cent movie photo bubblegum cards. There we are. So a little retailer display flyer for the Topps cards. And there's the Empire ones. They were just the business, weren't they, those cards? They really, really were. Then you got the Star Wars Holiday Special and everything that came with that. And it was pretty awful, really, wasn't it? Let's be honest. What's this? Showing on the Empire. Norwegian News. This is when they're on. I like the original Empire Strikes Back story treatment by George Lucas. There's Phil Tippett there. What's this? This is just a little... That's the way the Tauntaun legs would move. Other bits and pieces with the stop motion animation. And very, very cool. It was, for its time, absolutely groundbreaking and very much in the tradition of Ray Harryhausen. Beautiful Empire poster there, the quad in 1981, the saga begins again. And boy, oh boy, what a long wait that was for the second film after the first one. I mean, just agony when you were young. It's a nice fold out, isn't it? Excellent stuff. Little puffs there, that's sort of tissue boxes, aren't they? Critics and critics. Cover to Rolling Stone there. What's this inside? There's little things tucked away in this. It must have been so difficult to actually print. So what's this? Production information for Star Wars. Oh, there we are. I think I've got this one. I have a copy of this, in actual fact. Yes, that's quite nice. That cover to Rolling Stone's nice. I don't have that one. That's really, really nice, isn't it? That classic cover, classic magazine. And then we got the comics. So the British and American comics. There's the Marvel Comics #1 there. Of course, it was released in France as well. I've got a few of the French ones in my collection. This one's nice. Bit of a fold out. So this was the Sundays, the Star Wars Sundays, syndicated in America. The Sunday strips, they're really nice. And there's Foom. So that was the Marvel sort of in-house magazine. Friends of Old Marvel is what it stands for, and they're obviously celebrating the Star Wars. I probably got that one. I've just dug out my sort of large format and magazine vintage Star Wars books, so I shall have a little look through those. Some early fan club stuff, of course. And what's this here? This is, I think, another sort of fan club thing. Just a couple of cards. Pretty sure they're fan club ones. It's the original Ballantine paperback. And then a literary empire. So this is, when Star Wars started to come back in the mid-90s, that's sort of 92, 93, there was a mini-series called Dark Empire, a comic book series, and Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn came out. And those were the little signs of Star Wars starting to come back into popularity. And then from a collector's point of view, as I said, the Steve Sansweet book, From Concept to Screen, that really kicked things off big time. We've been selling Star Wars stuff in Purple Haze, my shop back then, and we had a huge pile of the Sansweet book when it came out, and we were selling bucket loads of it. Absolutely fantastic. What a time that was, the mid-90s. It was the time to pick up this stuff, I tell you that. So what's this? Revenge of the Jedi stickers. That's before they changed the movie's title, of course. And Blue Harvest was that was like the secret name for Return of the Jedi while they were filming, to keep the movie under wraps, as it were. Probably very wise. And there we are, Jedi here. Some of this I just haven't seen before. There's one of the large Japanese figures. I have seen those. They're showing a bit more of the classic merchandise now. So what's in this little envelope here? It's like a reproduction of a Japanese poster, possibly. Yeah, look at this. Oh, for an advert for National Video. That's rather nice, isn't it? Wow. That's the sort of thing probably not everyone's got in their collection. It'd be a good thing to have it even in repro form. Now, you've probably seen the Coca-Cola bottle tops. I do have a set of those, and they're really, really nice. Quite tricky to track down today, I would imagine. And some of the little Japanese pieces, a lot of it was produced by Takara. It's like a ticket here. This is La Guerra de la Galaxies, that's Spanish. Cool stuff, or Mexican rather. Looks good. The Super Live Adventure. I got a few bits and pieces from that. That looks like reading the radio adaptation of the first two films. And then onto the droids. The droids like plastic cell there. I was never a massive fan of the animated because I was too old for it really to enjoy it, but I still admired it for what it was and for keeping Star Wars sort of going really. Nothing compared to the animation we get today with like the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, which is just fantastic and highly watchable. It just appeals for all ages, the modern animation, compared to what was being produced back then. Trip to the Moon of Endor, look on special effects here. Then of course Star Tours, yeah, so Star Tours launched, and once again I've got a few bits and pieces from back then, some badges and caps and tankards and stuff like that from the 90s, which I really like. But really from this point onwards, Star Wars never really went away. And then we got all the hype leading up to the Phantom Menace. Oh, there's the original Atari game, how cool is that? And that was one, still is a fantastic arcade game. And then onto home computers, of course, the original pinball. There's the arcade game. We've got Star Wars Lego games. That was on multiple systems, including the original Xbox, which I love. It belongs in a museum. What's this? So the Art of Star Wars. That was an exhibition of the Art of Star Wars. The Marion County Fair. That's of course where ILM is, using the AT-ATs there. Magic, Star Wars Magic and the Myth. Wow. Some of this I'd really forgotten about. Star Wars stamps. And this is some of the 90s artwork now, of course. And then the special editions came back with a vengeance. Yeah. The 501st Legion. Look at that. How fantastic that is. Now into the very early episode 1 items, of which there was an awful lot, wasn't there? I mean, really, merchandising went to town with episode 1. People queuing up to see that first movie, The Phantom Menace, and it was an event when it came out. Star Wars Celebration, and in the first 10 years I've got that one. Yeah, look, George Lucas, congratulations on the first 10 years of Star Wars, signed by all the people involved by the look of it, with dedications. Look at that lucky chap, he's surrounded by Princess Leia in her slave outfit. There must be 20 there. It's a cosplay and a half, isn't it? Great stuff. There's a little bookmark there of some sort for Attack of the Clones. There's some of the Christmas cards. I've got a couple of those actually in my collection. I must dig out a bit more of my paper stuff to show on the channel, I have to say, because some of it's really fascinating, you know. Here we are. Mission tickets to Phantom Menace and beyond. Some parody stuff and comic book related stuff as well here at the end. Magazine covers again. Then Skywalker Ranch. Star Wars at 30. That was almost like the official logo, wasn't it? That's not coming out, that one, but that was almost like the official logo there. And Star Wars Celebration. And there we are. Good stuff. Yeah, so Peter Vilmer was another Star Wars collector, so he probably shared his collection with Sansweet. So I think that really is quite an amazing book, isn't it? I think you'll agree. I had a quick look on eBay, and these are not that expensive to pick up. So if you wanted a book which does sort of trace Star Wars through the memorabilia that was produced over the years, pulled from the archives, I think that's a really great one to get, and you're not going to have to pay too much for it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that little look through the Star Wars Vault. If you've enjoyed the video today, do please give it the thumbs up. Do please hit that subscribe button if you're not already for regular vintage Star Wars content, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.